everybody, I'm so excited. Today is Girls' Day. You know, all girls need girls, so we can, and we have some girls here that we're going to, for an hour. We're going to talk for an hour, but we're going to share some stuff with y'all. Now, Mineral Bluff, have you ever been to the old depot in Mineral Bluff?
Yes.
Okay. On Saturday, you can go from 10 to 3, and the old depot will be hosting trains, little, what do you call them, model trains. And we've got pictures of that we're going to show you, and we want you to go out. It's free. Where can you take your kids somewhere free for 5 hours? And I guarantee you they will be entertained for 5 hours.
They'll be fascinated by the train
yes,
models.
Absolutely fascinated. Now, what do you know about that depot? Why was it preserved when Ball Ground lost their depot? It's so cool.
I do not know, Sherry, but it's just now gaining a lot of recognition because you know it's been there forever and it was kind of overlooked. So, you know, because of the Blue Ridge, and then there was the train depot in Copper Hill. Of course, that was torn down several years ago. But it's really neat what the people have done there at Mineral Bluff.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a place not just little boys but little girls love the trains and just and the setup. And these people who collect trains, not only do they give their heart, they spend a lot of money because that stuff isn't cheap. And then they put it out there for everybody to enjoy. So it's so exciting. Now we're going to show some photos, y'all, and we're going to show some photos of the Pickens girls that won again. Yay, go Dragonettes. And the Pickens boys are going on now to play, I think they're playing Monroe, I think it is. Yeah, down in Albany, Georgia. And they are still in the running, but the girls are doing very well. And the Fannin girls. And the
Fannin high school girls, they won region. Now they're in state, and they will be playing Friday night at home, so everyone go out and watch them. They're really good. The boys also won, but they're not going to be playing at Fannin County High School.
And this is one of those times that you truly can shine. And isn't it a royal blue that y'all wear?
Yes.
I look good in royal blue. I ought to go to that game. I don't look good in that green Dragonettes, but I look good in that blue.
I'll let you know what time it starts, Sherry, so you can show up.
Yeah, it is so crazy, y'all. We're so proud of these teams.
I know.
We're so proud of them. And does the coach have something to do with it? Is there a new coach? Is there more motivation? What's going on?
No, not for the girls. He's been the coach for several years. There is a new boys coach, and I think he comes from over around Murray County, and they got a guy that can dunk the ball, and that's always exciting to see. So
did you play basketball?
I did.
Yeah. Winning team or losing team? Were y'all good?
We were good, not outstanding, not as stars, but we did win the region, and so. It was,
now I would stand up and we would really look stupid because she's tall and thin and she played basketball. I'm short and dumpy and I played basketball. We could make a joke about this, and if we can't laugh at ourselves, we can't laugh. So it would be hysterical because we did a commercial a couple of weeks ago and my knee kept popping when the guy was having us do this jump in the commercial. And he said, "What is that noise?" I said, "It's my knee. Every time you make me do that jump, my knee pops." That has to do with old age. And somebody saw me the other day and they said, "Gosh, your hair's white." I said, "Yes, I read about the black dye and decided I didn't need to do that anymore." So I went white.
Beautiful.
And it's just natural, and it don't cost a dime to do this natural stuff that Jesus gives us.
Amen.
So I'm just saying it's done, you know. But yeah, it's weird to have such white hair. So I got white hair. With white hair comes experience, and I have experience on a cake that we're going to show you right now, and then I'm going to share the recipe. I'm going to say it all slow. I'm going to give exact directions, although everybody who's ever used my cookbook knows that a recipe is only a beginning. I change recipes all the time. I've changed this cake recipe about 4 times, but right now I think I've landed on the way I like it. So here we go. Tracy, have you got those pictures up? We're going to show them first. And here's the cake. Now let me tell you, this cake was made, the first cake ever I've used with homegrown eggs. We have a little farm down the road from where I live, and picked up the eggs that night, let them sit, And then this is how you make the cake. You soften 3 sticks of butter. Do not put any margarine in my cake or I'll come hunt you down. 3 sticks of butter and then 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. That's your beginning. And what I did was I put it in a bowl, sat it there in the kitchen at night, and then the next morning got up and made the cake so it was nice and soft. You put that in the mixer, and I whipped that for about 3 minutes on medium high. And I just kind of stood there and thought, is that 3 minutes up? Yeah, pretty much. And then you just a little sugar at a time. You put in 3 cups of sugar. That tastes like a lot of sugar and sounds like a lot of sugar, but for this big cake, it's not that much. 3 cups of sugar, and you just gentle, and let it whip for about 3 more minutes on medium high. And then you do these eggs, but you do them one at a time. Now, I don't know how this cake batter knows that it just gets 1 egg at a time, but you put one and you do, then you put one, and you keep till you get 6 eggs in there. 6 of these big old pretty yellow eggs. And then you look down and it's all slosh, and you go, You take 2 cups of plain white lily flour and 1 cup of self-rising white lily flour, and you sift it all together, and you gently, a little at a time, you just kind of pour it in there a little at a time, and you mix it all up. And then you look down there and go, well, I'll be darned, it nearly looks like a cake. And then you add pure vanilla. Do not buy that fake stuff. Do not let me see you in a grocery store. I know it's expensive, but it does not matter. It is worth the difference. When it says imitation on there, put that back on the shelf. Do not buy it. Give up your Big Mac or give up something, but buy the real stuff. Buy the real vanilla. And then you get out your Granny's old tube pan. Now, I have a new pan that I really, really like, but it cooks better in Granny's old tube pan. And Granny's old tube pan means you got to grease it really, really good with Crisco, and then you dump a bunch of flour in there, and you and you dust it around, and then you pour it over in the garbage can. You always make a mess. I always do. It's okay. It'll clean up. And then you put that cake batter in there. Well, you have preheated your oven to 335, and you stick that cake in there. But after 15 minutes, you cut it back to 330 because you panic and you think, oh, it's going to cook too fast. So you put it on 330 for the rest of its trip around the moon. And it's about 40 to 45 minutes, and you get to thinking, I smell that cake. And you turn your light on your oven, you get 2 things happen. Oh, it's perfect, or oh, crap, it fell. In the 250 of them or more I've made, I've had 2 fall. And they didn't just fall. They just landed, it was like they had a wreck. They went to the bottom of the ocean. So I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if I did something wrong. I don't know. It may have just been the moon, the sun, the stars. I don't know. But I'm telling you, yesterday it was pouring down rain. It was miserable cold. I thought this cake won't be worth a flip, and buddy, it was good. It was good. So that's the recipe for everybody who asked about it. Last night I did put it on Facebook, but I was replying to somebody. Now I'll tell you a secret, and not many people know I did this. The last cake I made, I altered that recipe, and to it I added 4 dollops of sour cream. And I will vote that cake was better than this cake. So what did I tell you about a recipe? It's only a beginning. If you want to change my recipe and you want to add those dollops of sour cream, go for it, because I did, and it was fine. It was fine. I think it was moister. I think it was a little bit lighter, and I loved it. So there's my secret, and you can share it. This will be on YouTube. You can, tonight when we re-air at 5 o'clock, you can get that, and you will get it. Just sit there with your paper and pencil and write fast like I talk. Somebody said I talked like a Yankee one time, and I just cracked up because I talk like a hillbilly. But I used to talk like a Southern girl in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Is that not crazy? So there's the cake recipe. Everybody enjoy it. Now that cake recipe came from a very special lady, my grandmother. And today we are going to celebrate a lot of people home. So we're going to share a song with y'all. And it shows a list of people that we talked about the other day. And one of them, it was her birthday, the day that we were talking about it. Sweet, sweet Betty Jordan from Ball Ground, Georgia. Nobody was any sweeter than St. Betty. She was precious, precious, precious. She lost a battle with breast cancer. It was her second round of breast cancer, and she lost that battle. But we wouldn't bring her back. She wouldn't want to come back. But boy, is she missed. So in honor of her, and so many that we have lost, here's a list of just a few of the ones that I loved and lost.
When the time comes and I'm standing at the river that separates the two worlds that I love, torn between my precious friends and my family, and the place of peace that's waiting up above. Hold my hand and stay there by my side, and when I finally step into the tide, celebrate me home, celebrate me there, celebrate me in that land of wonder where nothing can compare. Celebrate me in that place, celebrate me saved by grace. Don't just sit and weep because I'm gone. Celebrate me home. I have spent most of my life on earth preparing to take the trip from here to heaven's throne, with the shield and word of God to guide me. It's a comfort knowing I am not alone. So when I take my final fleeting breath and fade into the gentle sleep of death, celebrate me home, celebrate me there, celebrate me in that land of wonder where nothing can compare. Celebrate me in that place, celebrate me saved by grace. Don't just sit and weep because I'm gone. Celebrate me home. No more broken dreams, no more tears to cry. Into my Father's arms I'll fly. Celebrate me home, celebrate me there, celebrate me in that land of wonder where nothing can compare. Celebrate
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time. And delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Elmer loves to giggle. Elmer's mommy taught him that laughing can help when you have a big feeling, like when you feel happy. Make sure to celebrate when you're happy and laugh it out. Love your mind.
See us anytime you can.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
Beautiful. Don't y'all love that little clips and openings and crazy? You know, these guys are a little bit talented and they know how to put things together. And I just say, hey, can we do this? Can we do this? And all of a sudden they make it appear. So they're going to make us appear, and they're going to make me taller and thinner, and they're going to make Susan shorter, so we won't look so dumb standing by each other.
Maybe they can forget about making me.
You know, where would the world be if the women had not united and elected a president that we all know and trust?
That's right.
I think the strong women who associate with the power of the presidency said, we want somebody who can do something for us, for we as women. And, you know, all this crap was going around, oh, they're going to take my rights, they're going to do this. No, they're going to make your life better. And it took a strength of women, and I'd say right here, we have a strength of women. We know the power of prayer.
Correct.
We know that that works, and we were praying, and I said, I get so tickled. I have a little friend up in Kentucky, and good morning, Brian. Hope you're having a good day. That boy wears Trump tennis shoes, Trump socks, Trump underwear, Trump hat, you know, you name it. But this year, he lost his dad. A few years ago, he lost his mom, an only child. You lose those two parents, it's tough.
It is.
And we all know, I mean, I buried my mom 6 weeks before I buried my husband. We don't plan losing the loves of our life, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. It's going to happen later. We might have them for a long, long time. We might not have them for much of any time. And we need to celebrate them. And y'all have an idea going on that we can celebrate life and doing something in honor and in memory of somebody that you loved.
Right.
So will you share with us what's available?
Okay. Blue Ridge Medical Center is now a not-for-profit hospital, so that entitled us to join the Georgia Heart Program. And it has to do with your Georgia state income tax. You join the Georgia Heart Program, designate Blue Ridge Medical Center as the hospital you want your Georgia income tax to go to. And so instead of it being sent to Atlanta and you don't know where it goes, you
Wait, stop right there. Stacey Abrams got $2 billion, and it has now been disclosed. This is going to let you tell them where you want your taxes sent. I don't want it sent to Stacey Abrams.
Exactly. You know, your hard-earned state income tax that we all have to pay. It comes back local to help the community, to help the hospital, and to help our community grow. Because if we don't have a hospital, your community will not grow.
As a realtor, one of the first questions, if it's a young family, they want to know about the school system. If it's a family at retirement age, how long would it take for me to get an ambulance here? Is there a hospital close by? Yes. Yeah, that's a question.
And so, you know, we've had, well, the hospital here in Ellijay closed down just an ER, and then the hospital at Copper Basin closed down several years ago.
That was heartbreaking.
So it was.
Yeah.
It still is, and especially for the people out in the Ducktown, Turtletown, Farner area. You know, they have a long way to travel, and sometimes you don't have the luxury of that amount of time to get to an ER. And so that's why it is so important to have a local hospital.
And we have to let people know it's not the refund you will be getting, it's the money you pay in that the state keeps.
That you would be paying your state income tax.
Right. It would go wherever they chose to
where they
spend
choose,
it.
you know, South Georgia.
I don't want the government choosing. I've seen where y'all have sent you money. We're not doing that.
And two, it's just helping your community, your hospital, the people that live in the community and yourself.
Yeah. Now, where is when you're doing your taxes, where's the line? How will people really know about this?
Okay.
Is it going to be confusing?
No, it is not confusing. This is Julie Shirah. She is director of cardiac rehab at the hospital.
Which means some people do recover from heart surgeries and heart attacks.
They do.
And today, a lot of prayers were said for Joel Neighbors, he was, the biggest part of the Neighbors team. And we had husband and wife brokers for years and years and years. He had some cardiac surgery yesterday. And he was sitting up, and they said one of the first things he said is turn on Fox News. I love it. He came out of heart surgery.
See what's happened.
Life is good.
Life is good.
That's great. But he's not old and heart surgery, but he's good. He's good, recovery.
And this cardiac rehab, which Julie is over, she has an excellent program. My husband went through it, a lot of other people that I know, and they love it. She teaches them a lot of different things to help keep their health, and plus the exercises. So
do you do the fussing and the cussing and having fits about smoking?
Well, we do talk to our patients about smoking cessation, and we help them understand why it is that they want to consider it. Because if a patient isn't interested in even considering quitting, you can't talk to them about how to until they're ready to. So we want to teach them first about what the perils are of continuing with the smoking, and then give them the tools that they need to help them quit smoking.
Right.
So we address all of their cardiac risk factors: cigarette smoking, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, lack of exercise, diabetes, stress, overweightness. All of these things are factors that we educate our patients about to help them prevent the progression of the disease, to help them prevent having another heart attack or prevent having another bypass surgery or what have you. And I've been seeing patients from age 21 to 96.
Isn't that crazy?
That
is
really
crazy.
is.
Yeah.
The,
I had a stress test. Have you ever had the stress
yes,
test?
ma'am. Yes, certainly.
My sister-in-law was there with me, and she said I looked like I was meeting death in the door. That thing scared me to death. Mine was the one where they inject you.
Oh, yes.
would die.
Holy cow, that was rough. But the idea that I lived through it,
Yeah,
That's
you know,
good.
that
Everything
was
was
cool.
good.
Yeah.
Everything was good. Yeah,
That's
I was like,
terrific.
yay, I'm going to be here a while. But that was scary because does it take your heart to a point that it can't stand any more pressure?
So the idea is to push your heart to a maximum stress level. Now, were you on a treadmill or was it the chemical one?
No, it was the chemical.
Okay. That chemical one is pretty tricky because the chemical
That chemical one scared the bejesus out
well,
of me.
It shows on the EKG 3 seconds where the heart just goes to a flat line and then it will pick back up. But the whole idea is to increase the heart rate so that it evaluates if the heart is getting enough blood supply to meet that increased demand.
Yeah.
And if they look on the pictures and they see, oh, well, her heart is getting plenty of blood flow at that increased demand, she's looking good, doesn't appear to have any blockages. Now, the tricky thing with the stress test is it's not a gold standard. It's not 100% accurate. It can be about 20 to 25. I mean, it can be off by about, well, let's say 15 to 20% of the time. It might say something is wrong and there isn't, or it might say something isn't wrong and there actually is. So it's just a screening tool. It's about 80%, 85% right.
Well, it's scarier than Friday the 13th, the movie. I was terrorized.
I'm sorry.
It was, and you know, speaking of women and their hearts, my aunt had breast cancer, had her first chemo treatment, and her heart shut down. Is that normal?
That does happen.
Yeah.
That does happen with chemo. Yes.
And she smoked all of her life and wouldn't quit. Just absolutely would not quit. But my mother, her sister, the strong-willed, crazy one, would not quit all my life. I begged her, Mama, please put your cigarettes down. Please put your cigarettes. The doctor said, Ms. Dobbs, you have terminal cancer and you have approximately 6 months to live. She put her cigarettes down. I'm like, excuse me? I was an 8-year-old kid begging you to quit, but she lived 2 years and 6 months.
Well, there you go. She gave
The
it
best part of the story is right before my mother was diagnosed, I had bought a small life insurance policy to bury her. We were within the window because she quit smoking, and I bought her a full-length mink coat because when she was having chemo, she would freeze to death. And she always wanted a mink coat. And I said, women who smoke do not wear mink coats because then you make that mink stink. So no, but the minute she quit smoking, I was so proud of her.
That's great.
I was so proud of her because even though it wasn't going to change her health, she did something to and it really, I think it did help her. And I think God looked down and said, go, Hazel, you finally quit, because it took forever.
Well, nicotine is such a powerful, wicked, addictive drug. It truly is. And quitting, those people that can put those down cold turkey, it's just really remarkable.
It is amazing. I know people who have done the cold turkey thing.
Yes.
And it just blows my mind because Mama did. And I kept asking, my daughter was taking her to chemo, and I'd say, does Mama smell like a cigarette? And Angela said, no, she doesn't. And she said, Mama, I think she's actually really quit. And I was like, my mama, you know, because I mean,
hard to
she would
believe.
light a cigarette in the kitchen, lay it on the kitchen counter, go to the bathroom, light one while she was in the bathroom, and leave it laying on the kitchen or in the bathroom sink. She'd forget because she always had one in her hand. Yeah, it was, and they said when they operated on her lungs, they said, we have some good news and the bad news. The good news is she made it through the surgery. The bad news is this is the second worst set of lungs we've ever seen. And I said, what does that mean? And they said the other one was a dead man.
Oh gosh, that was
so
bad.
she
devastating.
she got 2 extra years of life.
That's
So
remarkable.
yeah.
That's good.
And it, you know, God does what He does, and He gave her that extra time.
So that's great.
But now, if people want to come to you and they have a heart problem, or if they think they have a heart problem, how do you know you have a heart problem?
Well, usually it's you're
What shows up?
given some warnings. For example, pain, pressure, fullness, tightness, squeezing, aching, burning, indigestion, or really oftentimes people say, I didn't have any chest pain when I was having my heart problem. I just didn't feel right. Now you can have those symptoms in the chest, which most people recognize, but it doesn't have to be in the chest. It can be in the sternum, in the neck, in the jaw, in the gums, down either arm, between the shoulder blades, or in the stomach like indigestion. Some people don't have any of those.
Wow.
Some will say, I just had this unusual fatigue or unusual shortness of breath, and they'll come in and they'll say, you know, I thought I was just getting old and that's why I couldn't go down to the mailbox and get the mail and come back up without being short of breath.
Yeah.
And really, once I had my heart procedure, I can breathe again. So
crazy?
those are the things that you look for, and really the most remarkable, what I hear most commonly is, I just didn't feel right. That feeling of impending doom, and then they go to the emergency room at Blue Ridge Medical Center, and we evaluate them, do the EKG, run some blood work to see if they're actually having a heart attack, and then we can take care of them, stabilize them, and get them where they need to go to be cared for.
And my little business partner is healthy, walks 3 miles a day, but has high blood pressure. How do you make sense of that? Because she's physically fit, she does yoga, she walks 2 or 3 miles a day, but she has high blood pressure.
Does she have a lot of stress?
Oh yeah.
If she's stressed,
She
I mean,
works.
stress is going to...
She volunteers for everything. She's like the maximum, and she's in high gear. Yeah. So, and is it genetic? If we
It can be genetic,
if we know
yes.
that our grandparents had a heart issue, is that when
Oh,
you're really on
absolutely,
alarm?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 risk factors you can't change: your family history, your gender, and your age. But the other risk factors that we discussed, those you can take control of and change and prevent the progression of the disease. But the ones you can't control, the good news is if we do the lifestyle changes, you can mitigate the expression of that heart disease, even if you have a family history. But your friend who's young and fit and trim,
She is,
there might
I
be a
mean,
lot of other things going on, like is she, consuming caffeine or
Eats healthy,
alcohol,
drinks good.
doesn't sleep well, or has a lot of stress, or maybe she doesn't exhibit stress, but she holds it all inside,
Yeah.
and that'll make your blood pressure go up. Or it's just plain, I've got some bad genes, and these are the
Right.
cards I've
Yeah.
been dealt, so I've got to take this medicine.
Is it my blood pressure? And when the nurse told me this, I said, "You're kidding me. You're trying to scare me." It was 205 over 104. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, that's high.
Okay, she told me, she just sat down, it was Ruth Hinton, a dear, dear, precious lady in Jasper who was our nurse at the health department forever and ever and ever. She just looked me straight in the eyes. She said, "I don't know what's going on with you, but she said, get it straightened out because this is going to kill you." And I went home and I told my husband, and I said, "Well, I had a little talk, and we changed some things. And it was some stress going on, a lot of stress.
Right there.
And it was just stress. Because after that, it's 120 over 80 every day of my life, So
That's interesting you mentioned the stress. When I see patients coming into cardiac rehab, I always ask them, so why do you think you had this heart problem? The number 1 answer.
stress,
The number 2 answer, guess.
caffeine.
Close. My diet. I
Okay.
say
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
either excessive stress,
Yeah.
or, and usually it's not just I'm stressed at work, there's family stress, there's
Right.
family dynamics,
Right.
things aren't going well,
Right.
or then the diet.
Yeah.
Fast food, fried food.
It
processed
scared
foods.
me so bad because she wrote it down and she said, "Look at this. Just look
That's
at this."
really high.
She said, "This is dangerous." I was 28 at the time.
Oh, my.
I was 28. And I just went home and I told my husband, I said, "We got to do something about this." And so we did, and it was fine. And the stress was relieved. But we owned a restaurant, a trucking company, 5 kids, 9 dogs, a body shop. I don't know why I was stressed. I don't know why I was stressed.
Just a little stress.
Oh, I was stressed. But we solved some of that issue because the stress was really on me. And the day that I decided to close a business, and this is so funny, ETC had this system where you bought the phone system and you paid for it through your bill. And I had this really nice phone system, and somebody did something that really tore me up, and he just kept screaming at me and cussing at me, and it was over being stuck in California. And I took the phone, I beat the crap out of that phone. I tore that phone up. I destroyed it. And then they just kind of came into my office, picked up the phone, put it in the trash. And I said, "Then the stress will kill you." So I walked away and I said, "This is it. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not putting myself under that stress." And that's the one thing that we can decide we can change.
Correct.
We can
Absolutely.
change. And I said, it's not worth it. It's just not. There are things that aren't worth putting up with.
Well, risking your life.
Not worth it.
That's not worth it.
Not worth it. Now, if people want to come and see you, how do they get appointments, and what do they need to do?
Well, they have to qualify first. So
Okay.
either they've had a heart attack or bypass surgery or a stent, or they've had a heart transplant or valve repair or replacement. And then we do have a couple other diagnoses that are special diagnoses that require specific qualifiers from Medicare. If they have stable angina or congestive heart failure, they can also qualify. So basically, once they have that qualifying event, they can contact us and we can do all the legwork. We'll call their doctor, we'll send the referral, we'll verify their insurance coverage, we'll get their medical records. Once we get all of that, then we call the patient up, get them scheduled for their initial evaluation, which takes about 2 to 2.5 hours, where we do a lot of this education that we've been talking about, helping them to identify why did you have this problem? What can you do to change your lifestyle to prevent this problem? And then after that evaluation, they come in 3 times a week for exercise. Each visit is about an hour long, but we do have an intensive cardiac rehab program, so it's not just show up for exercise and we watch their EKG while that they work out. We teach them along the way. We teach them about all their risk factors, and each patient has a goal sheet. They're going to indicate their personal goals, whether it's their cholesterol level or their blood pressure or their stress or quitting smoking or losing weight, changing their diet. All of those things, they're going to indicate that they want to change, and then we help them. We give them information and handouts and education throughout those 36 visits. That's why it's an intensive cardiac rehab program.
And when they're doing these exercises, does anybody just flake out and can't do that? Have you seen that some people can't get to a point?
Well,
and then
so
do you find
that's
heart problems?
Well, that's a great question. So everybody that comes in has an individualized exercise prescription. So it's not cookie cutter. It depends on their age and their fitness level and what their personal goals are. Then we set them up on a program, and we're going to be watching their EKG. So they're on a monitor. That's why I keep pointing to my chest here. Like this. They're wearing a monitor around their neck with a little pouch, and we're watching their EKG while that they're exercising. And it's really miraculous how many things that we've been able to pick up on a patient that has sent the patient back to their doctor, even when they haven't had any symptoms.
Wow.
Sends them back to the doctor, and they get a pacemaker or have an ablation of their fast heart rate. It's really remarkable the things that we're able to catch during cardiac rehab and help these patients improve their quality of life. That's really what we're trying to do.
And we all say that you have to find out what's wrong to get it fixed.
Correct. Exactly.
So, you know, if you're walking around Walking Dead man and you don't know that your heart's going to explode or that you have a blockage. Now, with blockages with hearts, my stepmom had total blockage in her arteries and had a massive stroke and passed away. But is that something that can be found?
Yes.
On the things that you do, because she was a smoker, but she hadn't smoked in 17 years. But she had like 97% blockage on one side and 92 or something on the other. It was crazy. And we lost her to a stroke at a very young, healthy-looking age. She was not overweight. She walked all the time. But she had the cholesterol buildup. So how important, cholesterol and blood pressure, which is the one that really gets your heart the most?
Well, actually, they all impact the heart. And as you're talking about stroke, the same factors that cause blockage in the arteries to the heart also cause blockage to the arteries to the brain, and we teach them about that as well. We teach them, these are your symptoms, these kinds of things can cause blockage to your arteries to your brain, so we teach them about stroke. We teach them about those warning signs and what to do if you're experiencing those warning signs, because it's imperative. Most of the cardiac rehab patients that come in have been screened in their carotid arteries as well. They always screen them and do an ultrasound before that they have bypass surgery or heart transplant, just to make sure that everything's clear before they go in and put them under for surgery.
Did you ever think we'd live to see heart transplants?
It's
I remember the
miraculous.
first one, wasn't it South Africa?
Yes,
Dr. Christian
1978.
Bernard.
1965 or 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sure was.
Yeah.
Aren't you smart?
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
That is crazy.
Now, on top of that, the
How many have
greatest-
been done now, do you
Oh,
think?
I don't even know.
Thousands?
But there's another procedure that's being done where that if someone isn't a candidate to have a heart transplant, they get a device called a left ventricular assist device, and it hooks up to their heart. It has ports coming out here of their body hooked up to a battery pack, and it pumps the heart for them.
So they're like the
it's-
Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, it's
Take
not,
a licking and keep
well,
on ticking.
The people that get these are really amazing, because you have to be exceptionally dedicated with cleaning the wound and wearing that battery pack. It's heavy, but it's miraculous if they're not a candidate for having a heart transplant or don't want to get the heart transplant. They can get this LVAD, and it's just
That's crazy.
Back in the old days, when I was just out of graduate school, the device that they had was literally set up on a cart, and you'd see these folks walking down the hall with this
their
cart,
cart.
with this
Their
machine,
heart.
literally this machine
That is
on a
crazy.
cart hooked up to their heart to keep their heart working, until that was more for them while they were waiting to get a heart transplant.
It's crazy.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
it really
crazy.
is.
And you know, the thing that really amazes me is the surgery on babies' hearts in vitro.
Yes.
When after they're born, I mean, there are so many things. A little tiny heart, and I mean, how big is a baby's heart?
Tiny.
Tiny. What kind of surgeon does that?
Who does? How do they do that?
I don't know.
How do
Only
they
by the grace of God, really.
meticulous?
Yeah.
It's only by the grace of God.
Yeah. Now, as we look at health today, we all love RFK Jr. We love him. And we are so excited that we're going to have an opportunity to clean up what we eat. And you talk about diet a lot. A diet is very, very important. And I watched this stupid commercial, and you know, I fall for everything. I've spent too much money on junk they sell on TV. I'm not doing that anymore. I've learned my lessons. But there's this chemical cleaner that you spritz on your broccoli and you spritz
your
on
vegetables,
on your apples and stuff. Do you believe that that helps if we wash and clean our vegetables, if we eat natural? Do we need to remove things from our vegetables before we eat them?
We do need to remove things from our vegetables, but if you can buy organic, that's your best bet, is to buy organic. Or to grow your own.
Yeah,
Right?
grow your
Right.
own.
Grow your own if you can. But I don't know about the spritz thing. I can't.
Yeah,
I don't
what's
know.
in it?
Right.
Yeah.
What
Well,
is
somebody had
in
told
it?
me that they wash their vegetables in a solution of vinegar and water.
That's a great option.
Yeah, just they wash their solution, and this was like $29 on TV, and I'm sitting there going, and I was telling somebody about it. She said, I don't know, just make sure it's from vinegar and water.
Yes.
And I thought, there you go. So if we're eating healthy, but we're eating vegetables that have ick in it, then we
Yes.
should wash them in vinegar and water. And that's
Exactly.
simple, and it
'Cause-
doesn't cost $29.
Right, I was washing some loose leaf lettuce Sunday, and of course, you know, I had it in the colander draining it, so I set it over a paper plate. So I moved the paper plate, and it was
Dirt.
black.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said, look at this. It's hard to believe, but you know, buy organic. Of
Yeah,
course, there's
yeah.
not any pesticides used on
Yeah.
those.
Now,
but,
have y'all ever eaten? Have you ever eaten at Dominic's in Ball Ground? It's our. They
I
have
have not.
fire grilled pizza and all this stuff. I go there to eat a salad. They have the freshest, best salad ever, and I usually get the salad, eat half of it there, and take half of it home. And they have their greens are always so crisp and so fresh and so good, and that's the kind of thing. When we walk into a grocery store, Lord knows where it's been, where it's traveled, and who handled it. Whoa, you know.
Yes.
So vinegar and water would be a good thing. But in a diet, what are the things that are heart healthy to eat?
Well, basically, it's easier to say what don't eat, what we
Yeah.
shouldn't eat. Avoid fast food. Like, sorry, anyone that's fast food, fried foods, processed foods, packaged foods. Avoid your desserts. Avoid sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
She can attest to all of this.
Yeah.
Avoid those desserts, particularly, because sugar, really and truly, fat used to be the big culprit, but fat's not the only culprit out there. Sugar is truly wicked for our bodies.
Yeah.
It's a very inflammatory.
I made a angel food cake for our homeowners on Friday, and I did it with strawberries and a little bit of cream cheese and an angel food cake. The reason I chose that is because I have a friend who is a diabetic, and that was one of the things that she was allowed to have. And so I did it with an angel food cake, and I thought, well, that's good for you and not too bad. And the only sugar that was on it was I did sprinkle the strawberries in some sugar, and then I poured ginger ale on it to give it an effervescence,
Oh,
and it was really
interesting.
cool. Yeah, it was really cool. But you can also do it with stevia. Now, is stevia a good replacement or not?
Let's ask JFK.
Okay.
We'll have
okay.
to JFK on
Yeah,
that because
yeah.
it's tricky because it does come from a plant, but you don't know what the processing is like for that particular
Right. Yep. Yep.
sweetener.
Do you remember? You're not old enough to remember, and I know.
Oh, I
do you
am.
remember saccharin? Do y'all
Oh
remember saccharin?
yes,
Yeah.
saccharin. And the
Saccharin
pink stuff.
killed rats. I
It
mean,
did.
it killed
Yes,
rats.
ma'am.
And my grandmother had this little bitty jar of saccharin pills. And she would make unsweet tea because she wanted to lose weight. And she would put 3 little saccharin tablets in her tea. And then you read, that crap will kill you.
Yeah, what it does to
Yes.
you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think about my grandmother who, well, she lived to be 89 and dementia killed her. So is it the luck of the draw? Because she did saccharin for a long time. And that was the most disgusting taste in the world. And people say, oh, I can't tell the difference in that and sweet tea. Well, you're lying. You are
Yes,
lying.
you have, or your taste buds are dead. Your taste
you
buds
are.
gone.
You are. Now tell people again how to get involved in this and what number on their application or on their tax return. How do they do it?
They can ask their accountants about it. Most of them in the area know, and we've been reaching out to those people so they're aware of it. And a lot of our accountants have already joined the program. So, they can either give me a call, give Julie a call, or go to georgiaheart.com.org, and then you can designate that you want to do your Georgia income tax, and then there's a drop-down bar. Blue Ridge Medical Center plus 49 other hospitals in the state are participating in this program. So you've got to make sure that you click on Blue Ridge Medical Center so you know that that's where your money is going. You complete that application. It takes about 60 seconds, and then they will send it to the Department of Revenue. They will in turn approve, and so there you have it. And so most businesses pay quarterly taxes, so you would just send that quarterly payment in to Georgia Heart, and it's designated to come back to Blue Ridge Medical Center.
That's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy. Yeah.
This program has been in existence since 2017. The Georgia legislatures, they passed the bill in 2016. So there's some hospitals that have been in the program for that many years. So, we're out trying to make everyone aware that we are eligible for it and that they can help the hospital.
Sure. And we think about that question that always is asked, what about the schools? What about the hospital? What's the hospital doing as far as growth?
Well, we're doing really good now. We're hoping to, we have beds open in med-surg, and we're going for the critical care access hospital. And so, there's just positive things happening. The ER, of course, staying busy, and and we do have a swing bed program, which has been very popular.
Is that like if you're doing physical therapy?
Yes,
after surgery, that kind of thing?
Yeah, and instead, so they can do it in-house instead of having to travel back and forth to another facility.
And who wouldn't want to rather be at home in a hospital
Exactly.
than your kids driving to Atlanta to see you?
That's a fact.
That's
No,
true.
thank
I
you.
mean,
Yeah.
and we just have so many people. I'll be up front and they'll say, thank y'all for being here, and we're glad that y'all are open, and but we've always done everything that we had done before except have inpatients. So we're now back to inpatients.
Now, what about the Pink Ladies?
Oh yes,
Yes.
yeah. They're still with us, and they add just so much to the hospital.
Yeah.
There was cataract surgery yesterday, and this gentleman, he was going to the car to get it to pick up his wife. She'd had cataract surgery, and he stopped and he said, "Thank y'all for everything that you do. They just add so much to the hospital." And we still have Miss Shirley. She's still the president, and so they do bring a lot.
Do they still have the gift shop and has all the cool stuff in it?
Oh,
so
yes.
they
We just
always have some neat stuff.
Right. We went to the market in Atlanta in January, so we're getting some of those spring items in. Really cute things.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm going to send you some things for the girls. I'm going to make a gift donation to the store, and it's to help a young lady who's at home making amazing things as her husband battles dementia.
Oh, so sorry.
And so I told her, she worked for me for years and years and years, and I said, Bonnie, we'll create a job for you at home. So that's what we've done.
Oh, good.
So, and she makes amazing stuff. So I'll send you some stuff with a bunny theme, and it will say, somebody here loves you, and it will have your hospital name on it. So
nice. Yes, they
so
would
it'll give you
appreciate
something.
that.
Yeah,
Yes, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because that's one of those things, our life takes turns that we don't expect. And she never dreamed. They worked for me for years and years and years, and taught Sunday school every Sunday, sang in church all the time, and now his memory's gone. So she had to do something, and I said, we'll just create a job. So
Well, She's lucky to have you.
Good
Yes,
job.
that's amazing.
Yes, it is. It really
But
is.
yeah, I just wanted to reiterate about the Georgia Heart Program. It's funny that Susan asked me to join her today, me running the cardiac rehab program, and then the program that we're advocating is the Georgia Heart. They have nothing to do with cardiac or cardiac rehab. The Georgia Heart Program actually allows taxpayers like you and I and businesses to allocate their Georgia income tax dollars right back to the hospital, like Susan was saying. And it's simple. You just take 60 seconds to go out to www.georgiaheart.org, or
I was
if
going to
the
say, we
cameras
have
can
viewers
click
who
onto the
don't have
QR
computers.
code.
Yeah.
The QR code here. You can use your camera to scan the QR code, and by doing that, they will be approved by the Georgia Heart Program and the Georgia Department of Revenue. The taxpayer, the business will receive a letter back that says you've been approved for this dollar
Wow.
amount, and then they'll make that tax payment within 180 days or before October 31st, whichever comes first, making that tax payment right back to the hospital to be used, like Susan was saying, for something that they care about. We do have some limits, though, depending upon how the individual files. If they're filing individually, they can allocate up to $5,000. If they're filing jointly, up to $10,000. But if they're an LLC, they can allocate up to $25,000
That's crazy.
of their Georgia
Yeah.
income tax
Yeah.
liability. Now, if they're a C Corp can allocate up to 75% of their Georgia income tax liability for the year of 2025. And all
crazy.
those monies will go back to our hospital. And
We'll leave you some of these
Oh,
papers,
yeah, I want,
Sherry,
I definitely want those, yeah,
because
for sure.
you know it doesn't matter where
Yeah.
you live in
Yeah,
Georgia,
sure.
you can
Yeah.
still
Yeah, for sure.
designate Blue Ridge Medical
And if we
Center.
have viewers who don't have access to, if most of my viewers at all ages have a cell phone, and you know, if we have to pay the tax anyway, I would much rather decide that it goes back to our community than to go to where the places my boy Elon is digging up stuff. I want to adopt him. How old is he? I don't care. I just want him to be my boy.
he already is.
He's such a good guy, and I love when he took his jacket open in the White House and it says tech support.
Yes.
That was the coolest thing ever. Coolest thing ever. Now, I chose a photo of the week. And from now on, every week, I'm going to choose a photo of the week. And this is the photo of the week this week. And it is because I'm a true Daytona racing. I love it, love it, love it. And when my president and his little grandchildren got to be at the Daytona 500, once again, we are making America great again. We are making America healthy again. But more than that, excuse me, we are making America happy again. People are smiling, they're laughing, they're excited. And if you don't know all this money that Elon has found, there is discussion that each person who legally lives in the United States, who legally paid taxes, who is legal and didn't come across the border, is going to get a check for up to $5,000. Now that's good news for any and everybody. I disagree with it a bit because I would rather he send me $2,500 and then put $2,500 toward the debt. But if he wants to send me $5,000, I'll take the $5,000. I'll take the $5,000. Susan, can you imagine in Copper Hill, Tennessee, knowing what happened to the economy there, what $5,000 per person in a household will do for a family? This is real, y'all. This is real, real, real. This is what happens when you put somebody in there with a brain, with a heart that truly loves America and is coming back to our America that we love.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It
It's awesome. It's exciting.
Yes,
Thank
it
you
is.
both for being
Well,
here.
thank you for having us,
You know, we've got
Sherry.
just a couple
Thank
more
you,
minutes.
Sherry.
And we want to remind people this hospital is open to serve you. And check it out if you haven't been there in the past, and if you haven't done anything except go by and get to meet the sweet folks at the gift store.
Exactly. And also, if you want to do a tour, just come by. I'll be happy to take anyone on a tour to see what services we offer and see the hospital.
Right. Is the lunchroom still good?
Oh,
Cafeteria good?
Great. Great.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah, we have some people that come in for breakfast and lunch that's the reason they come.
Yes, yes, I love that. I love
it's wonderful food.
And is it price? Can they afford it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Because sometimes people are on a tight budget. You know, we're on a tight budget. So, and again, today we're talking about hearts, and this is something Bonnie made, and I love it. It says, "Let all you do be done in love." So today, I'm going to ask every single one of you, do something for somebody you love. And if you love basketball, we're going to encourage you to show up in your really pretty royal blue and Fannin, or show up in Pickens for your girls in that green. I don't look so good in that green.
No,
But-
royal blue's better for
Yeah,
me.
royal blue looks good. But we are so excited. This has been a
Yes.
great year for sports for our
and,
communities.
for
Yeah.
our local students to shine,
Really
not
cool.
only academically but athletically.
Yeah, and to the kids from Fannin who came down to visit with me, thank you for coming to visit. Next time y'all come, I'm going to cook something for you because I've decided I don't have a kitchen out here and it drives me crazy. But I think we can work out a way that we can take them back in there in the kitchen. There is a stove back there, and I can create my own little set. So you never know what I'm going to do, and you never know where I'm going to show up. Everybody knows that.
Yes. That
Do you
would be
remember
wonderful.
Carl Ed and Laura Abernathy?
Oh, sure.
The dearest, dearest people. And I was thinking about when Carl Ed would show up at my door with collard greens and cornbread. He had grown the greens, and he would cook them and bring them to me. Laura came to me later and she said, before you came on television, he just didn't want to get up in the morning. He wasn't excited about life. He didn't want to do anything. And then you came into our lives. And she told me at the funeral home, she told everybody, they said, oh, that's that lady on TV. She said, yeah, that's Carl Ed's girlfriend. And it was so precious.
Yes.
So many precious memories have been made because Roger Futch made a call and said, you want to come and talk to us about doing live TV? And I said, well, I don't know. I guess can.
Oh, he was
And
great.
it seemed to have
He was
worked.
great.
He was
And
a
his
wonderful
wife,
man.
too.
He was.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to tell her about the icing on the cake.
Yes. What's
Just
that?
tell her about the icing on the
Yeah,
cake.
this is, as we call the icing on the cake. If you do donate, then you can get a federal credit by doing the Georgia state income tax.
So
And
if we
that's-
scan this and we put it on, can we even put it on our YouTube? Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so what
Okay.
she was saying about the federal tax deduction, so not only it's a dollar for dollar Georgia income tax credit, but also for those S Corps, the C Corps, those LLCs, they can actually qualify for an additional federal tax deduction. But
Wow.
we do always ask that you check with your tax advisor.
Yes.
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're not-
yeah.
And
Yeah.
should we mention about ETC and their generosity?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are a donor this year. Julie and I, we came down here 2 weeks ago and we had to hold each other down from floating in the air. We were so excited.
We were.
We just want to
It's
thank
incredible.
them.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
for their generosity.
And you know, that we talk about that. We live in communities that know ETC is going to be there for us.
Yes.
You pick up the phone and you call, you're going to get somebody local who
Yes.
speaks English,
Yes.
who understands even your hillbilly accent like me. They understand this stuff, and they understand that we live in a community where we know what's going on, and we know each other. We know who's had a heart attack. We know who's battling cancer, and we can ask for prayer for them. And that's one of the
Absolutely.
things I told Roger. I said, as long as we can do something where we can ask for prayer, we can do gospel music, and we can keep
Yes.
this community knowing about each other, I'm on board.
Yes.
It's worked for 18 years.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank heavens for
Thank
Roger.
you.
He
Yeah,
was an
he was an
outstanding
angel.
man.
Yeah.
He
Ann is
was.
one of my favorite people in
Yeah.
the whole world. She is
Yeah.
special.
Well, I'm so glad that ETC's on board. Yay!
Yes. Sherry, you do a
Yay.
great job.
Thank you,
You
thank
really
you,
do a
thank
great
you.
job
Thank
with
you for
this.
being here
Well,
today.
thank you for having
you.
us.
Yay! And next time they come to bring some Jack Daniels and we'll celebrate because we'll have gotten our check from Elon, but we don't drink. We'll just sit it there. So, So remember, today is a day that you can make a difference in somebody else's life. It is so simple. It is so easy. As simple as picking up a phone, as simple as writing a card, as simple as stopping and opening the door for somebody in the grocery store and saying, hey, it's so good to see you today. Hope to see you again soon. Don't forget, this goes right to YouTube. Share it with your friends and share it with your neighbors. Hit subscribe on YouTube. Doesn't cost you a dime. I'll see you again soon. Bye, y'all.